What is up, guys? It is your boy Jeff coming to you from Reno, Nevada, the Stallion State, the Wild West. You could almost say I'm riding my own Bronco of the ONSRA VELAR. Just came down to Sparks, Nevada because it has a very long, flat bike path along the mountain range of the Sierra Mountains, and I wanted to do a range test on this sucker. The ONSRA is kind of a monster for range, but how is it going to do when it's very, very cold, 35 degrees? Well, here's the answer: 22.5 miles. And 20% battery remaining on this monster. It's got the off-road tires, 200 mil pneumatics. This for sure isn't much of an aero tuck, but it does help me get a little bit under the wind and out of the cold. It took me about 5 minutes into this ride to get my fingers absolutely frozen, and actually I had a bunch of wind coming in to the helmet, which wasn't so optimal. Normally I do have a scarf, which really helps, but not today. Forgot that at home. That technology only works when you actually bring it. I did spend a little bit of a short stint in Colorado. This definitely does remind me of that area. Cold, windy, flat, and just bike paths that go straight for eternity. It seems like you see for miles and miles, but the views are incredible. One great thing about this ONSRA VELAR board is that it's pretty wide and the trucks are pretty stiff, so it does make for a very, very stable ride. I have basically been going 30 miles an hour the entire time on this ride, on this bike path, with a side wind, with kneeling down, getting tucked in, staying underneath the wind as much as I could just to maximize my efficiency. But this thing just ripped through it all, 30 miles an hour of course, which is pinned at sport mode just below brutality, which is mode 4. Not really the most efficient way to actually do a range test is just keep it pinned the whole time, but this is kind of realistic. You're probably going to end up doing 30 plus miles an hour on these flat surfaces. Now you may ask yourself, is the ONSRA VELAR stable enough to do barrel rolls? And the answer is, yes it is. Just like in Fast and the Furious, physics do not apply to the ONSRA VELAR. You can bend the laws of gravity, go upside down, as long as you keep it pinned, and just fly on. My only real gripe with this board is that because it's so stable, it really isn't that exhilarating to ride. The Lawrence Major, which is much, much bigger, the trucks for some reason feel a lot more alive and springy. Just a better overall carving board. I'm sure the ONSRA VELAR is better on fire roads and trails and all that as an actual mountain board, but it just feels a bit stale, and it doesn't seem to really push you to do any kind of deep carves. Perhaps that was by design. They wanted their Black Carve 3 to really be that street board, and this just to be that mountain board. So perhaps stability was the main focus of it, just for the trails and fire roads and everything. I think as a good all-around city commuting board, this thing would be perfect, and then the occasional like off-roading. But if you really want that performance board, I find that my Ace Deck X1 is actually a much better like carver and just a thrilling ride. Sure, it doesn't have the power of the ONSRA VELAR or the range, but the time that you do have on it is just so incredible. Just the carving ability, the speed is enough, the acceleration is more than enough on it, and it's just such a smooth ride overall. I think that ONSRA really made a mistake by making this board belt drive. It just takes away from some of that smoothness and some of the confidence. If it had a gear drive, perhaps it would be a much better board. And swapping out the wheels, I really think that a premium product like this should have come with some polyurethane, some kind of rubber wheels perhaps, to make it a much overall better board for just carving. I think most of us will probably be on paths like this most of the time, or in the city where we just kind of want to get those nice carving sessions in. You know, there are some good trails in Tahoe and around Reno, but most of the time I'm just on the pavement like this. However, the one great thing about belt drives is that you can modify it to your liking / style of riding, however you want to be. But I just think it should have come out of the box a little bit more set up that way. So I was just getting back to Sparks. Noticed on the remote I still had 30%. So I saw this back road, decided to go down it, made it to the end, and then I saw this herd of horses coming down, and it was incredible. They walked right past me down to this stream to get a little bit of a drink, but only 6 of them came down at a time out of about 18, and then they'd go back up and another 6 would come down, and they just rotated like this for about 20 minutes. But the patch where they could actually get to the water was so small, so I guess they knew how to do the system. Only 6 at a time, and then back up for another one. So enjoy a couple photos I took, and this was the end of my ride. So that's it for me today. Hope you enjoy, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.